Hi, welcome back to the Fire Is series. I'm Fire Captain Scott Hunter from the Bedford Fire Department. It may seem obvious that fire is hot, but this segment will teach you how large home fires start from a very small flame.
Hi, I'm Allison Field. As a television news reporter, I've had to cover stories of terrible fires in which children, adults, and sometimes firefighters were burned or killed. Now, you might think, of course, fire is hot. We all know that. But there's a lot more you need to know about how hot fires get, how fast a tiny flame from a match or a lighter can spread into a huge fire, and what you should do if a fire breaks out. My father and brother, also news reporters, learned a great deal about fire safety by going through fire training schools and reporting on fires. And they want you to know what the heat is like in a real fire, and that fire is hot.
Hi, I'm Frank Field, and this is my son Storm.
Did you know that most fires are set by children playing with matches or cigarette lighters? Maybe it's something you've done yourself, but it's really something you should never, ever do. No one ever means to set terrible fires by playing with matches or lighters, but it happens all the time.
Roanoke, Virginia. Officials say a child playing with matches caused a fire in an apartment building. 7 people were hurt and a dozen families were left homeless.
Now, fire investigators say that kids playing with matches set a roaring church fire in Camden.
Fire is a useful tool, but it can easily grow to something that's out of control and uncontrollable.
Children think that fire is a game. If you play with fire, you will get burned.
A tiny flame from a candle started this terrible fire. 3 children were hurt. The fire spread so fast they could not get out.
It started with a candle, spread very rapidly.
Overcome by smoke, the children were rushed to a hospital by helicopter. Luckily, all were saved. Never play with fire. It was also a candle that set a fire in a house that killed a mom and her 7-year-old daughter.
One match can destroy a whole city. And we've seen a child play with a single match or a single strike of a lighter and can displace multiple families, can destroy an entire household.
Matches, lighters, and candles are tools for adults. They are not toys. Boys playing with a cigarette lighter accidentally started this fire. They didn't mean to, but all 3 were burned and spent a long time in the hospital.
The concern we see in the fire service, and it happens far too often, is matches or lighters that are in the hands of a child can be just as dangerous as a loaded gun.
These firefighters have just finished putting out a fire that was started by a child who was playing with matches. As you can see, they're very upset and sad because the 4 children they saved were badly burned. The children were trapped in the black smoke and fire in their room after a boy playing with matches accidentally set a bed on fire. The boy, who didn't mean to start the fire, was burned. So were his brothers and sisters. They were all rushed to the hospital, badly hurt, because one child played with matches. The fire destroyed everything in their home. There was nothing left.
What can be the harm in a tiny flame that lights a cigarette? To many boys and girls, fires are fascinating. Fires look so pretty, with dancing flames and warmth. And burning coals in a barbecue mean tasty food and lots of fun. The heat from just a little flame, from a match or a lighter or a candle, doesn't seem scary, does it? But it can really be very dangerous. This boy was badly burned when he played with a match.
To find it on the floor.
And you picked up the match? And how'd you light a match? Do you know how to light?
Like, then a match. Then
yeah.
I put it on the bed, then I put water.
And the water didn't put out the fire? And what happened to you?
I got burned.
He played with a match. One match that started the fire that caused those terrible burns. And he's been in the hospital for months and needs years of treatments. This little girl was also rushed to a hospital after she played with a candle.
There was candles on the table, and I left not even 2 seconds, and she pulled the candles down, and her hair went up in flames, and it happened in a matter of seconds.
The girl's head was severely burned. She was treated at the hospital. She couldn't go home for a long time. So you see, even a tiny flame from a match or a candle can hurt you and turn into a huge fire.
It's hard to believe that a little flame could grow into a terrible fire that could make it so hot that just breathing that hot air could kill you.
Children don't understand what kind of danger they're fooling with. This little boy still hasn't learned the lesson, don't play with matches.
How did that happen?
This?
Yeah.
This?
Yeah, what happened there?
It's so hot.
Yeah.
I burned it.
How'd you do that?
Easy, I lighted it.
With what?
With a match.
He was very lucky. He could have burned his entire house down. He wouldn't have been laughing then. This is what might have happened. A small flame from a match or cigarette lighter or candle starts a little fire on the couch. The flame looks harmless, but watch how fast the fire grows. Fire experts want you to see just how dangerous playing with a little flame can be. They started this fire on a couch, just like the couch the little boy almost set on fire. Now you can see what happens. The sofa begins to blaze up. In minutes, the fire is roaring out of control. Smoke and the heat from the burning sofa are rising to the ceiling. It's getting darker and darker because the smoke is trapped in the room. The fire is spreading quickly. The temperature in the room is now hundreds of degrees. Only trained firefighters can put a fire like this one out. They learn how to fight fire at special schools.
Storm went to a school for firefighters where they can make fires without poisonous smoke. Here they teach the firefighters how unbelievably hot and dangerous flames can be. Storm wore protective fire clothing and a breathing mask, and he describes what it felt like while crawling on the floor.
The fire is so hot. I can feel the heat through my yellow protective clothes. I am really glad the fire lieutenant is crawling alongside of me, helping me stay safe. It's so hot over my head that if we stood up, it would kill us. That's why we have to stay low. The heat is so intense.
Then the firefighters took Storm into another special room to show how hot it can get in a fire. Remember the couch we showed you, which was burning and filled the room with thick black smoke? Well, here's what happens in such a room. Firefighters call it a flashover because it gets so terribly hot, over 1,000 degrees, and the black smoke near the ceiling bursts into flame. The smoke actually burns. When it gets that hot, everything burns and melts, even metal, plastic, and glass.
Guys have flashlights on their helmets, and they sometimes walk out of a fire and they're dripping off the side of the helmet because they're completely melted.
So now you know why that little boy who played with matches and almost set his couch on fire was lucky. All it took was that one tiny flame to do all this. Never, never play with matches, lighters, candles, or fire. Now here is a large building. As you can see, it was destroyed by a fire. Now how many matches do you think it took to burn this building down? Do you think it took 1 match, 10 matches, 50, or 100? I asked some school children that very question.
How many matches does it take to burn down a big building?
4.
4.
12.
12 matches.
100.
100 matches. You don't think 1 match could burn down a big building?
No.
Well, you know, they're all wrong. All it takes is just 1 match.
That's right. All it takes is just 1 match.
Just 1 match set a fire in this building that destroyed a home and killed 3 children. The firefighters who rushed to the burning building found flames shooting out of windows. They crawled through black smoke and intense heat, but they couldn't save the children.
I felt terrible. I know all the other guys really felt terrible, and it was completely burned out. They were buried in the corner in the room that the fire actually started in. The kids were playing with matches, and reportedly the child was told earlier in the evening not to play with matches.
The boy who was playing with matches didn't mean to start that fire. He died, and so did his sister.
Sometimes kids find cigarette lighters and they play with them as though they were toys. but they are not toys.
A 5-year-old with a lighter started a fire, and in a few minutes the house was in flames. When his mother came home, she found her 2 children dead, the boy and his sister. This is home video of a fire set by a boy playing with a cigarette lighter. The curtain in his room caught fire. And it was 2 children also playing with a lighter that set a couch on fire. Both children were badly burned. Cigarette lighters are dangerous. They are not toys. If you find one, don't play with it. Give it to an adult.
Matches, lighters, candles really should be treated just like firearms. If a child finds it, they need to leave it alone and notify an adult.
As we said, a little flame may look like fun, but can quickly get out of control, turning into a huge fire that may hurt you. You may not mean to set a fire, but we see stories in the news every day about children who get into serious trouble playing with fire.
Tonight, fire ravages a family. 2 children die in a blaze in Bed-Stuy. Investigators think that they were playing with matches. Dick Brennan is live now in Brooklyn now with this story. Dick?
Yeah, Ralph, this is an absolutely awful story. 2 little children, a boy and a girl, ages 4 and 5, gone in a matter of minutes, apparently because they were playing with matches.
Roanoke, Virginia. Officials say a child playing with matches caused a fire in an apartment building. 7 people were hurt and a dozen families were left homeless.
Tonight, 3 children are dead after a fire raced through their apartment. Investigators believe the children were playing with matches.
Deadly blaze started around 11 last night. Firefighters say they found 3 kids huddled together. They were badly burned.
It may be playing with matches or setting small fires or getting caught in a fire. As television reporters, Dad and I have interviewed and seen the dreadful effects that fire can have on children.
When children are seriously burned, they must go to special places called burn centers. The pain from burns lasts a long time. Burns cause so much damage to the skin, it takes years and years of treatment to get better.
And you're wearing those inserts and pressure all the time, huh? It's a good girl. And this hand, too? Let me see, Jackie. Make a fist. Good girl.
This is Jackie. She was badly burned by fire. She doesn't want other boys and girls to be hurt the way she was.
I know a lot of children don't like to be in a hospital, so I'm telling them, please, not to play with fire, because look, this is all what I got. Look at all this I got. Look at that.
Yeah, that hurt, didn't it?
And look, my pinkies are bent. I can't straighten them out or nothing. Have to make a plastic surgery on me. 3 more. Under my arm, too. I can't reach that high.
Dr. Jerome Finkelstein treated Jackie for her burns. He sees many, many children who come here to the burn center for special care.
You see the children I work with, and you've seen Jackie, and the terrible thing it did to her. The burn itself is a painful injury. You're in the hospital for weeks away from your toys and your school and your friends. So this is the best way to deal with it is prevent it and never in any way play with fire, matches, candles, anything. This is the worst possible injury that any child could ever have.
Matches, cigarette lighters, and fire are really tools. Now, you would never think of playing with sharp knives and other tools that could hurt you, would you?
Of course not. It's a dangerous tool, and you could cut yourself badly. There are many other tools that grown-ups use, and as you grow older, you'll learn how to safely use these tools too. Well, matches, cigarette lighters, and fire are also tools. They're tools used by grown-ups. They are not toys.
Matches or lighters should only be used by grown-ups. Now, if you find such things, don't play with them. Turn them over to a grown-up.
Fire can be good, or it can be bad. It's a powerful tool that can quickly get out of control and hurt you and destroy things. Fire is good when used as a tool by a grown-up to help light birthday candles, to get a fire started on a stove to cook food, or to make a fire in a fireplace to warm the house. There must always be an adult when fire is used. Fire is never a plaything for kids.
So please remember, never, ever play with fire, and warn your friends to never play with fire either.
So now you know how dangerously hot a fire can be and how fast a fire can spread and go out of control. You know that a tiny flame from a match, a lighter, or a candle can destroy an entire building. And that's why you must never, ever play with fire. And if you see kids playing with fire, warn them. You could save a life. And remember, if there is a fire in your home, get low, get out quickly. Try not to panic or hide from the fire. Have an escape plan and practice fire drills at home. And remember, fire is hot.
What we learned from Fire is Hot is that matches and lighters should not be used without careful adult supervision. We understand that as you get older, your parents teach you how to use matches and lighters. Remember to do so only under adult supervision, and be safe out there.
It might be red in color, but a fire in your house or an apartment, it's dark, it's black, it's smoky. You're not even going to be able to see your hand in front of your face.
You may only see fire briefly. It's the smoke that is the killer.
One of the misconceptions is that people can put fires out themselves, and when they try to do it, they waste time. Fire moves fast, and there's not much you can do once it accelerates to a certain point.
If you approach a door that's closed, you feel that door. If it's hot, you stay away from it, and you travel your secondary route out.
Smoke detectors are the first line of defense. Having a working smoke alarm will cut your chances of dying or getting hurt in a home fire in half. So having an operating smoke alarm that you test on a monthly basis is so important.
I think a lot of people take for granted that a fire will happen to them. I think everybody thinks it's going to happen to somebody else, never them. That's one of the biggest misconceptions people have about fires.
Children think that fire is a game. If you play with fire, you will get burned.